This broadcast is for people to be more aware in the party founded by the Donaldsons and Jackson in Tennessee, the Democratic Party. As we take a look here in the 7th District in Ohio at our Lebanon Citizens National Bank president, who did a fine job expanding the banks and becoming the senator in Ohio who catapulted to the head of the Energy Commission. Obviously a sweet spot for British Petroleum, who has world headquarters in Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, and also Vice President Ciminarelli of Marathon, as well as a few other members of high rank in the British Petroleum camps and Marathon camps in Butler County, where we have seen the rise of a political figure named Richard Jones and some of his divisive comments at the Pleasure Inn off of 42 just outside of Mason in regards to people's ability to communicate and being Latino, which concerns me because my little brother had issues communicating, and as you can tell, we do look Latino. So as we move forward with this energy president serving in the 7th District of Ohio, we have to take a look at what has happened. And I'm not going to say all of it falls under Trump, but I am going to say that a lot of it does. We now are able to have our kids go down and be prescribed marijuana. And the way they're prescribing it these days, it's prescribed for just about anything. I know here locally we had some people in the class of 92, 93 that were able to go out and be entrepreneurs and really catapult things in Denver, Colorado with their marijuana sales. And they are some names Warren County is familiar with, as well as most of Ohio, from what I understand. And we can also take a look at the plethora of options to gamble. And these are things that Donald Trump brought with him to the White House. He had a history in Atlantic City and had partnerships in Las Vegas that were based on gambling. He had real estate adventures, excavating companies that could benefit from building a wall 1,500 miles from the Pacific to the Gulf of Mexico. And once we start looking at the possibilities for racketeering in the state of Ohio, I ask you to take a close look at where I have been. Take a close look at my depositions on Rodcast YouTube. Because Churchill Downs owns the facility that I went to in corrections. Monday Correctional Institute on Gettysburg Avenue in Dayton, Ohio is owned by Churchill Downs. And the director of this establishment is Warren County Family Courts Judge James Flannery. I say that because of our Lebanon senator from the Lebanon Citizens National Bank, who sits on the Energy Commission and serves British Petroleum out of Cleveland, and Vice President Ciminarelli, for sure, on that commission. And I look at some of the corruption that comes along in these campaign contributions, and I can't help but take a look at the Golden Lamb's dinner contributions to people through organizations to support things like the Monday Correctional Facility. And then we have to wonder, why is it that a gambling mecca like Churchill Downs would be doing corrections or teaching in Ohio? And why would it be that Mr. Seminarelli uh, blocked the casino when it came to Austin Landing? And they ended up putting it down on 68 or 63, whichever one it is, and forming a commission here in Warren County, a powerful one, called the Miami Valley Gaming Commission. When they did, we lost a racetrack in Lebanon, and they moved it to the outskirts of Monroe, to the casino. And we watched as Lebanon sort of had to recover from losing all that influx of tax money and all that jobs that were there, including my friend Lola, who used to work down there, serving hamburgers and being a friend to me as she had been my entire life. Take a look at the impact that a lot of things have throughout Ohio. I can't help but look back on one of the final memories that I have at the Lebanon racetrack, where George Hinkle had a pig roast, and I ran into my friend Rodney King, and I thanked him for getting me the job at British Petroleum with Troy Hamilton and Mark Goodwin and Cliff Burton and many more, and helping me to find stability in a job when I left Worthington Steel because we were in a recession under George Bush and I was getting laid off quite a bit. I worked at Manpower, and when I got laid off from Worthington Steel in Monroe, they sent me down to Corwin, Ohio, to work for Bill Perkey at the skid plant that sits on the Burlington Road. Those were different times than we see today in Ohio, where we have to wonder what's going on with these casinos and some of the issues that develop from gambling. We've seen enough damage, in my opinion, from the lottery sales. I had a man come in one time who lost it all for the second time, and he didn't want to go home because his wife was going to leave him because he had spent all the Christmas money. And he said, "This is going to do it because I lost our house a few years back." Gambling addiction is serious addiction. It causes just as much damage as any other addiction. And I think it goes unaddressed here in the state of Ohio. And I think Senator Wilson and Greg Landsman need to pay more attention to what's going on, because we don't need pot. We don't need gambling casinos. What we need is U.S. for Hope and donations for ALS and other diseases out there, so that we could do something positive for change. And if you're going to stick your gambling money pit in our communities, then the least that we can do is ask you to match the churches as you both try to institute the U.S. for Hope crowdfunding strategy, using laptop computers, using things like the Square, and making sure that the money hits the books in places like Johns Hopkins, Children's Hospital, and many, many more, by teaching, setting the example so that other people will know when they come to your establishments that this is what you do, and they can carry it back to places like Pilot Flying J, like Valero, like Lichens, and other places, and start to sell these books, raise money, and cure disease.